Hello, this is Kayla Staley and I am your child's 7th grade math teacher. I wanted to be able to talk to you about the things on the syllabus because I know that there are so many things that come home with your student those first few days of school. It's in a huge stack of papers, and especially if you have multiple children, it's just an assembly line of signing where you need to sign. And I wanted to be able to personally explain this to you. I've explained this to your child, but they've heard so many things throughout the day that chances are they're not going to relay all that information to you. So you can have that syllabus out and you can follow along with me. There's some information about me at the top. Basically, I grew up in Marshall County. I graduated from the high school in 2002 and went to Murray State, became a teacher, graduated in December of 2006, and was blessed to be hired immediately at North Marshall, and I've been here ever since. I have a master's degree in middle school education. I'm endorsed to teach environmental education as well, and I have an endorsement in teacher leadership. I've been married to my husband, Caleb, for 9 years, and we have 3 beautiful boys. They are Owen, he's 5, he just started kindergarten this year, and twin boys, Evan and Aiden, who will turn 3 at the end of this month. As far as contacting me, I want you to contact me. I'm a firm believer that communication and a strong partnership between me as their teacher, you as their parents, and the student, there's a responsibility in all 3 parts, and when the 3 of us work together, that's when the magic happens. So here are some ways that you can contact me. The easiest way, the quickest way to get a response is to email me. You can see that there, kayla.staley@marshall.kyschools.us. I check that several times throughout the day, and typically I can respond within a few hours. Either my lunch break is coming up soon, my planning period's coming up soon, or the end of the day where I can respond to you relatively quickly. If you need to call the school, there's the number. Feel free to do that. I can talk from noon to 12:45. That's my planning period, and then after 2:55, I'm guaranteed to be here till 3:15, and then I'm typically here till about 3:30 or so until I go pick up my own children. If you call another time, Miss Greta will take your name and your number, and I will gladly give you a call back either at the end of the day or during my planning period. I do use an app called Remind. You do not have to have a smartphone to enroll in this app. As long as you have text messaging, you can enroll. What it does is it protects your phone number from everybody knowing it. I don't know your phone number. You don't know my phone number. I use this app, I send a message, and it sends a mass text to everybody in that class. So to enroll in this, you will open up a text message. You're going to send it to this number here, 478-997-8959. And then the message, instead of saying like, hey, I'm on my way, or what are you doing, the message will have this. And then either 1st Staley, 3rd Staley, 6th Staley, 7th. Be sure and include the @ symbol, but that will be the message. You'll get a response that says, something like, welcome to Remind, let us know your first and your last name, and then you'll be enrolled in it and you will get those texts. I use this typically to remind of a vocabulary quiz, like don't forget to study. That might be Wednesday morning if I didn't remember to send it on Tuesday night. Hey, on your way to school, study for that vocabulary quiz. Or you have a Unit 3 test coming up in a couple of days. You need to start preparing now. If there are some changes in things, I'll send it that way to remind you of that as well. Another thing of keeping in touch with me and what's going on in your child's school, they will have a monthly calendar every month, and this typically change every 2 to 3 weeks as things change, but I will update that. I'll print out a new one for them, and that gives their homework, their quizzes, their tests, everything, so they know at least 2 to 3 weeks in advance what's going on, so they can plan ahead. And I know things are busy. You've got swim practice, and then there's a basketball game, and then little brother has to be taking the piano practice. There's crazy things that happen. Our lives are so busy, and that way you can plan ahead with your child of when we're going to get this homework done. Looking on down for the classroom expectations, my expectations, which would be like, in a traditional class what the rules were, I want your students to come to class prepared. A pencil, paper, I like them to have a math folder. I don't care if it's in a binder, if it's in a Trapper Keeper or what, I just want some location that's separate from reading and science and social studies for their math stuff. And then they need to have their homework, whatever that was. We're not going to be going back and forth to our lockers. Come with that stuff to class. I ask that they be on time, which I think is just a life skill anyway. This is valued for the rest of their lives. They need to be on time for class, for turning in assignments, etc. I want us to respect others, and ways that this happens is not talking while others are talking. If that's me, if that's another student, that everybody is listening. Stop to listen when the teacher is talking, and to keep things positive. And my last rule is to laugh, and I tell them, make it fun. There's things at my home that I don't like to do, like I hate to wash dishes. I hate it. But it's got to be done, or my house is going to be disgusting because, I live with 4 boys, so I'm the one washing the dishes. I don't like to do it, so what do? I turn on some music. I might be dancing like a fool in my kitchen while I'm washing dishes, but I make it fun. I make it where, it's not something fun, but I make it that way. And so when I say laugh, we're going to laugh with others, not at them. So it's not a, we're going to make fun of people thing. We're just going to make class fun. For turning in papers, I want their first and last name on those. That's nothing new. Papers without a name. This is a chronic problem with students. It's posted in a location called Whoville, and I've pointed out to your student where that is. And so here's why this is important to you as a parent. If you're checking the parent portal, there's a paper or a quiz marked missing, and you're like, wow, I know my kid was there that day. What happened? It may be that paper didn't have a name on it. So I put it up there, and then they go there to claim it. I'm not going to make a daily announcement. Hey, I've got 4 papers over here in Whoville. Johnny, is it yours? Sally, is it yours? They're big boys and girls now. They know to look over there if they think they've already turned it in. Class supplies. Bring those things to class. Like I said, where it says that week's vocabulary cards, that's the $1 that was on the supply list. I'm making them color-coded vocabulary cards, which I'll talk about those more. I want those brought every day to class because we'll use those to study to prepare for our weekly quizzes. I do sell pencils and cap erasers at my desk if your kid gets in a pinch. And typically this time of the year, everybody has all the things that they need. It's more like February that they ran out of the pencils that you bought them in August. For makeup work, it is the student's responsibility to find out what it is that they missed. If there was some sort of handout, it will be left in the absent work bin, which I've shown your students where that is. Work will be due the next day. If 2 days were missed, you have 2 days to make it up, and so forth. If the work if the work due that day was a previous assignment, like let's say that I assigned something on Monday, it was due on Tuesday, but your child was absent on Tuesday. So when they return, it's due. They don't get an extra day for something that was a previous assignment. They only get the extra days to complete it for the days that they missed. Homework quizzes, they're going to be happening, a couple, possibly 3 times a week. If they missed on a day where there was a homework quiz. If they're not made up in the days allowed, like they had 2 days, to make it up because they missed 2 days, then it'll be put as a 0 in the grade book, and it stays that way until they make it up. Those can be made up before school, like 7:45 is plenty of time to make those up. During AA, as time allows, there's certain things we have to accomplish during AA, but there'll be some days that AA is downtime, and as long as their AA teacher is okay with it, they can come to my room to make up that quiz then. And after school by appointment, make sure that I'm able to stay with them that day. And all makeup work needs to be turned in the makeup work bin, and that's at the back table, and I've shown your student where that is. Essential number 8. At North, we have adopted the essential 20 rules as a school, and the number 8 rule is you must complete your homework every day. So here's how I handle this. Late work will be accepted, but it's 20 points deducted for each day that it's late. Just like if I forget to pay my electric bill, West Kentucky Rural Electric has a late fee on there. This is, we're trying to prepare them for real world. Missed assignments are immediately added to the Diners Club list, which is like a lunch detention if you're not familiar with that. 5 points will be lost from the pyramid. Work is turned into the makeup work bin before first period. I'll take it off. They won't be on the list that day. And once that work is turned in, those pyramid points are returned. Kids are going to make mistakes. We know that, and we allow them to be, for some redemption from those mistakes. Now, if this becomes a habit, every third missed assignment, it results in 5 pyramid points lost under unprepared for class, and these will not be returned. This is showing that, there's an issue here, and this will be a point where I'm contacting you as a parent and saying, Susie's having a hard time remembering to get her video notes or her homework, and, what are some things that we can do to help to prevent this from happening again? That's where we start to have those conversations. Hall passes, I gave your child 6 of those, and this is their ticket to leave the room, whether that's to go to the bathroom, they left something in their locker, they left their person in another class. You know, you're going to forget things. We're going to need to leave every now and then, but I don't want this to be repeated. So this is how they can leave. They get 6 of those. It lasts them the whole year. I'll periodically might give those as a reward or something, but it's your child's responsibility to keep up with those. If there's some sort of medical problem, let me know that and I'll gladly work around that. For vocabulary, I briefly mentioned this before. Your student will learn 84 math vocabulary words, and we learn those at the beginning of the year. And let's say we're going to learn about a box plot. We're not really going to study box plots till probably like March. However, if you know that term, it makes it where we're creating and analyzing those box plots much easier if you already know what it is. So to break this up, the words have been separated into 6 groups, 1 for each week of the grading period. And so there's 14 words every week that your child is responsible for knowing. The first 6 weeks we will learn about, and we're going to create note cards for each word. This is where the dollar on the supply list comes in. So like week 1 is red. Your child will have 14 red cards with the word already printed on the front. It has a graphic organizer on the back, and that's what we work through as a class that first 6 weeks, learning and teaching those words. Starting the second 6 weeks, there will be a weekly quiz. Every Wednesday, there will be a vocabulary quiz. The note cards, they have the definition, an icon like a picture, and some extra information to help them study. And these lists and definitions can also be found on my Edline website. Okay, about the flipped classroom. This class is going to be set up differently probably from math classes you have experienced in the past. In a traditional classroom, students listen to a lecture in class, and then the practice problems are sent home. And this can be a problem because you don't have a textbook to send home. I wish I did have one to send you, but we just don't. And so, you know, at home, that was a struggle for you because you had this homework to work on with your child, but nothing to really reference of how it's being taught. You did this stuff, but it was a long time ago as a parent. And, you know, you just need a quick refresher on how to help them. So what we do is we flip this. So in a flipped classroom, which is what my class is, students will watch an online 5 to 10 minute video lecture at home. And then the practicing the skill, that's going to be done in the classroom. We swap those two things. So the benefit for this is there's essentially less homework for your student to be doing at home. Rather than sitting at the kitchen table and trying to walk them through step by step of how to do this math homework, you are simply making sure that they have their video notes completed, that you're getting them to the computer or wherever it is on the smartphone, on the tablet, you know, to the library, however it's going to be to watch that video. That's your responsibility as a parent, is to help your kid do that. And then practicing the skill happens in class where me, the math teacher, is the one that's helping them. I know that classic argument at home where you know what you're doing and you're trying to help your child, but no, it's not the way that Miss Staley said, and then you're upset because you do know what you're talking about, but you know, any teenager thinks that their parents are, you know, idiots and they don't want to listen to anything, so there's this argument that ensues. So hopefully this will eliminate that. And feedback that I received last year is homework time was much less stressful in a flipped model. So a monthly schedule will be issued, so your kid will know way in advance which videos are due when. So if they have a Sunday afternoon with, you know, a 2-hour block, take them, you know, to where the computer is, whether that's at the library or, you know, a grandparent's house or wherever it may be, or at home. Let them watch 4 or 5 videos. Get that whole week's worth of homework done in one setting. You get to work at your own pace. If you do not have access to the internet or a smartphone at home, like I said, you can go to the city library, or I can load those videos onto a jump drive for you in case you have a computer but not internet access, or your internet, you know, seems to be really spotty and it goes out right when you need it. You know, you have those files on a jump drive that you can watch those without being tied to the internet. Or I can issue a DVD. Just let me know in advance that you're going to need that DVD for the unit, and I'll be glad to have that made for you. Those DVDs can be played on an Xbox or a Wii if you have a game system as well. If the video has not been watched by class time, this is not something that I send the child to Diners Club for. What they do is they go to the back of the room, they watch the video with headphones while the other students are either playing the game, doing the activity that reinforces the skill. Now, obviously, it would be much more fun to be playing that game or doing that hands-on activity rather than sitting at a computer by yourself with headphones, because what happens then is the time that the students that watch the video had in class to practice it, to do the homework, your child is going to have to do that at home, and it simply goes back to a traditional classroom. I will be teaching your children how to access these videos, how to take notes off of them, and so forth. And so probably by the second week of school, we will really be in the swing of watching videos. Grades will be determined like so. It's 2020, 2020. The homework, mostly participation, and this will be, did your kid complete it or did they not? Or if it was something completed in class, not necessarily for accuracy, just did they do it? That's 20% of their grade. The homework quizzes, this is where the accuracy comes on. I don't think it's quite fair to send homework home with a student, and depending on if you as a parent are a mathematician or not is the determination of how well they're going to do. I think that they should not be assessed on how much they know until they've had time to practice it and make corrections, which is what the homework is for. Then we take a quiz over it. They're short quizzes, 3 questions or so for each lesson, and that's done in class. And so when you look on Infinite Campus, you can get a picture of how your kid is doing. The homework participation, how are they doing responsibility-wise? Under the homework quizzes, this is more their comprehension. How much of the information are they understanding? It will also be helpful for you to look on the parent portal to see what concepts your child is struggling with. They may be doing awesome with decimals, but when we get to dividing fractions, that's where they're really struggling. And you can see on parent portal, on the quiz over dividing fractions, they scored a 2 out of 5. Wow. We need to back up. We need to look at this. We need to practice that more at home. The unit tests are 20% of their grade. There are 5 unit tests throughout the year. They'll take 2 of those this fall, and we will spend lots of time reviewing for those. The vocabulary quizzes every Wednesday. Those will average out for 20% of their grade, and then they will have comprehensive tests, comprehensive finals that will be 20%. They will take a midterm at Christmas and a final exam at the end of the year. So I think in that I kind of explained, that paragraph there. Here's something that'll be of interest to you. These quizzes can be retaken by appointment before or after school, but only after the student has proved that they have worked extra problems, studied, etc. to relearn the material. We're not going to cross our fingers and hope we do better next time. If your child, shows me, they prove to me that they've worked on this concept, they can retake that quiz, and we'll do that by appointment. And so generally I say, like, if you scored below an 80% on it, then we can retake it. What I would like for you to do is make sure that you and your child understand everything before you sign and return this back to me, because the signature is not just you looked at a paper. I want to know that you understand this, that you're okay with this, you have any questions, that we've talked about this, that we are all on the same page. So have your student sign there, and mom, dad, you can sign down there. This will be something that I'll check off because I want you to be able to keep this, so you don't have to have your child tear this off or anything. But just sign it and return it with your child. And I really look forward to meeting you in the future and getting to know your child. Thanks.